ワールドシリーズの大谷翔平選手効果はすごかったようですね。視聴者数も記録的な数字を叩き出したことはさることながら、なんとファン層の拡大にも貢献したという情報が入ってきました。今回はワールドシリーズ関連と移籍関連の情報を扱っていた番組を翻訳してお届けいたします。このチャンネルでは日本人メジャーリーガーに関する現地番組の様子を翻訳してお届けいたします。お見逃しのないよう今のうちにチャンネル登録をお願いいたします。
Yeah, everybody was glued to the series. However, since the series ended, there has been a little bit of news. These were the final images from the 120th running of the Fall Classic. The Los Angeles Dodgers, champions of the baseball world. Dave Roberts elated, as were all the boys in blue, to hoist a commissioner's trophy. And so many of their statements afterwards, I found it interesting, had to do with 2020.
Yeah.
And kind of the shade that they'd been thrown for winning the World Series in the COVID year. Now, let me say this. Anybody that discredited that World Series needs to really stop and check themselves. What were they that's what they had. That's all we had.
So
they
don't
won
go win it.
So don't say, oh, it didn't count, it was fake. What were they supposed to do? Not try to win the World Series because it was a quote-unquote fake World Series? They were the best team in baseball that year. That's what we had, a 60-game season. So not discrediting that is first.
But if you look at that year, that may be the toughest year ever because you had to deal with the 40-man roster that you didn't know if someone was going to have COVID and be out for 10 days.
That's a good point.
You didn't even have a full complement of the roster.
But I think it was still in a lot of the Dodgers that were on the roster that year because a lot of their comments were now they got to stop talking about the fake World Series in 2020. Well, anybody that called it a fake World Series is out of line.
Right.
So the Dodgers have won 2 World Series in the last 5 years now because 2020 counts just the same for me.
I agree. No doubt about it. The biggest thing with this one, what I kept hearing from players is going to finally get a parade. That was their calling card. I want a parade. I want a parade. And so that kind of pushed them to this because they didn't get a parade in 2020. But they got one this year.
Lauren's going to dive in on the best of the parade a little bit later on. Sunny day in Los Angeles, as per usual. Downtown was cleaned up. Doesn't happen very often in LA anymore. And it was pretty big event. So we thought this was interesting. Mark Sales, our researcher on the show, put this together for us. It is not a guarantee, Harold, that the biggest spenders win the World Series, right? The Dodgers spent $1.4 billion last winter. Of course, a lot of that was the Ohtani deal.
Right.
And they won the World Series. But take a look at the biggest spenders the 3 years prior to this one. And then go back 5 years earlier than that. For the Angels in 2019, that big expenditure came in re-upping Mike Trout. The Angels missed the postseason that year. They've missed the postseason every year since, as a matter of fact. Cubs, Dodgers, Giants, and Marlins. And those teams didn't fare particularly well, save the Dodgers that got in. The Marlins spent a bunch of money and missed the entire postseason. That was the year they re-upped Stanton to that record-setting contract. So what the Dodgers did, rarely do you win the offseason and then win the World Series. Tip your cap to them for not only spending the money, but doing it the right way and winning.
Well, and they won big, too. I mean, I know they won on the field, but the Ohtani contract has paid off and then some already in Japan. But I think for baseball, the biggest win is the fans are finally getting younger. You know, we've been trying to reach that 18 to 30 range. Well, they set records. And I think a lot of it has to do with the way baseball's been going about it. You saw all the different colors of cleats and medallions and bat flips and all the things that the old people are tired of, don't like, but the younger generation embraces. And I think it's turning the tide. The fans are getting younger. The game is surviving. The players connect with the young people, social media, all that. It is a huge win. And we've not seen these numbers. Can you put those back up again? We haven't seen numbers like that.
We got that full screen, Bill.
I mean, look at these numbers. 30 million combined average viewers. And the bigger part is I really think the Ohtani effect is huge. You look at Ohtani, Yamamoto, the Japanese players that participated. And if you look at the Dodgers alone, let's think about this, Matt. You've got, just in the World Series, I'll go both teams. But we had 1 year, 2020 actually, Mookie Betts was the only African-American player in the World Series. That was it.
Is that true?
He was the only participant, all right? This year, you think about the multicultural players that we saw across the board. Japanese players, Venezuelan, Dominican, big stars across the board. And then you look at the African-American players that were in this series. I think we reached the rainbow, and it affected the reason there's so many young people watching, because they're seeing people that look like them across the whole structure of the sport. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, well, let's spend a moment here talking about the runners-up, the New York Yankees, whose off-season agenda is perhaps more interesting than any other team in baseball. Forget about the fact that they went to the World Series this year for a lot of reasons. They've got a lot of expiring contracts. They've got a star that just opted out over the weekend of his contract in Garrett Cole, and the Juan Soto sweepstakes.
I like the new headlines.
Yeah, the new graphics.
Those things jump.
Can you notice the new graphics?
Yeah, notice the new graphics. But the Juan Soto story is going to be the biggest one, I think, in the Bronx, and that's taking nothing away from the Garrett Cole situation now that he's made more interesting by opting out. Everybody's in play now, at least everybody that's got, you know, some shekels saved up, because it's not going to come at a cheap cost. We thought that when Juan Soto said no thanks to the alleged, you know, reported $450 in D.C., we thought, oh, dude, that ain't coming back. Well, guess what? I think it's coming back plus. I think he's going to sign for more than that.
I think he's going to get more than that. He will. I think that's the floor. But I've heard both, okay? Because people have, to me, Ohtani's $700 million is $700 million. You can sit there and go, real money today.
It's an outlier. That deal's an outlier.
And so I do believe that we're looking at 450 up.
Man. Now, how many teams do you think are in play? Are we just talking about the standard spenders? Okay, Yankees, Red Sox.
Yankees,
Mets.
Red Sox, Dodgers, Mets. Not Red Sox. So that'd be 5 if you throw Red Sox in there. I'm thinking Toronto. If Toronto went after Ohtani with that kind of money, you got to think they're at least nibbling on the fringes. The other team I think that I'm curious about would be the Giants. The Giants have not had a bat.
The Giants going to whiff at another big free agent again, because that's kind of been their whole off season the last 3 years.
But you're going to have to come in with the big money, and the more teams that we keep talking about, the more his price goes up.
Well, then let me ask you this. If we agree that Juan Soto's free agency is the biggest storyline of the winter so far, the offseason, what is the second biggest? What else are we going to be chasing for the next 3 months? Because I have some ideas myself.
Well, I mean, first thing on top of mind is Garrett Cole tonight.
Yeah.
The Yankees have a deadline. You know, by 5 o'clock Eastern, they have to decide, do we give him the $36 million and kick in the next 4 years, or do we pass and start? That's going to tell us a lot about the winter. Because what's plan B if the Yankees don't bring Garrett Cole back? And that all of a sudden shakes everything up. So I think that's number 2 for me, which is top of the line tonight. What do you have?
I got across town. The Pete Alonso free agency is going to be fascinating.
That'll be good.
Because if a lot of fans thought the Mets may have been prepared to say goodbye to Pete, he had this magical postseason, single-handedly saved their season with that homer in Milwaukee against Devin Williams. Came up big throughout the postseason. This is a guy that's going to be on the Mount Rushmore in franchise history if he gets another deal to stay in Flushing, Queens. That's going to be a big one. How about Alex Bregman, whether or not he stays in Houston? This is a foundational player. The Astros have chosen to part company with a couple of guys in that 2017-18 core. Bregman survived, but now he's up. Does he stay in the Space City for the duration of his big league career? Boston's going to come calling on him, by the way. And how about this? Where are the Tampa Bay Rays going to play? The hurricane that blew through there, I mean, they're not playing there this year.
They'll never go back there.
Oh, my God, look at that. They're not playing this year. So are they going to play in Dunedin? Are they going to look for another dome facility?
They're going to do what, who was that? Toronto played all over the place.
And it was terrible.
Yeah.
You got to give them one home. And whatever happens, I hope it's not, they don't turn into, you know, Bingo Long and the Traveling All-Stars where they're barnstorming all over the country. Give them one home to hang their hat. That's another movie Lauren Shahadi's never heard of. Bingo Long. Bingo Long.
No, I got it. I just don't got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Good morning.
Good morning. I missed you.
We missed you, too. She's waiting for an immediate. Oh, my God. You're so easy to read. She said, I missed you. I missed you. You better say it quick.
Don't let a second go by. A lot of viewers have missed us as well.
False.
No, don't be surprised. John and X, welcome back to my favorite trio. That's us. Whether it's Matt's tennis videos, Lauren's armpits, Harold educating the citizens of Seattle on bike safety. I'm here for it. Lauren may not like any of you, but I certainly like all of you. Where's that on
thanks,
the soundboard?
John.
Thanks,
I,
John. Like any of you.
I have a question for you, Lauren.
Oh, tell me.
I cannot believe this was the first World Series.
First World Series ever. I saw him in the trailer, and
Can
he
you
said,
believe that?
Is that right?
ever.
Really?
And what a way.
How was it?
It was interesting. It was so much fun. There's so much media. You're not used to that when you cover a division series, right? Or a championship series. You can't even walk to get to the players.
This was unusual.
Was it different
Yeah,
than
because you had Otani effect. I mean, you had a whole nother country.
It was pretty cool.
So many Japanese reporters. It was incredible.
How was this experience for you learning this season? Oh my God,
Right.
don't get the lashes.
You know what? That's exactly it.
I know.
I
know you.
There was a point in time where my fake eyelashes were falling into my eye, champagne covered. I had to go in a separate room. I swear. And credit to Kike Hernandez. He said, because he was the one that dumped. He stayed with me. He's like, "You okay? You okay? Can you see? Can you see?" And then when I said I could see, he just
And
ran.
they threw it all around on you again.
Credit to you for not doing the huge ski goggles, because people want to see. We want to see faces
They don't really
in
go with
there.
the makeup, you know what I'm
But
saying?
no, we want to see faces in there.
What was the first one that hit you? And it was like, oh man, here we go.
Kike.
Oh, Kike, that was early.
Is it champagne or Budweiser? I can't tell.
Both.
It's not a good combo. I'll tell you that right
And it's
now.
not the good stuff. If it's champagne, it's like
It's on Dom.
$2.99 Cooks. The stuff you drank in
Well,
college.
it feels like it in your eyes. We are on for longer today. Little press conference.
No, we're not.
Talking about easy. Talking about easy.
No.
Some very cool images from the parade. Gentlemen, Walker Buehler. That's funny. You did remember that. Without even seeing the split screen.
Well, that World Series, as a kid that grew up as an A's fan, that sucked for me. So I remembered every image from that.
Who partied the hardest? Number one on your list.
Of the Dodgers?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
Kike.
Kike Hernandez. He didn't own a
doubt.
shirt. Where's the shirt?
He
It's
told
gone.
me on the field after they won, I'm going to be naked on that parade.
He basically was.
I would say second place would be Anthony Bonda, because that dude, he's all, there he is,
all
right there.
tatted
That's
up.
him. That's him.
Yes.
And he was walking around with the clown mask on during the LCS. I mean, he looked like a guy that was up to no good.
Would you go shirtless at a parade? Yes and no.
Nobody wants to see this.
Harold would.
Nobody.
No.
He's probably got a
nobody wants to
six-pack.
see us.
Eats
I do,
donuts
but
all
I
day.
wouldn't do that.
Wait, you do? Do you hear how you just
What's
snuck
the
that in
key
there?
to keeping
Wait,
guys
do you
healthy?
really? I believe you.
No, I don't anymore.
It's unbelievable.
I believe that Harold would look good shirtless.
Meanwhile, eats donuts.
I know.
All
He's
day
got
long.
the jeans, man.
I know.
日本でもアメリカでもそうですが、若年層の野球人気が高まれば、野球人口増加にもつながりますし、球界としては至上命題ですよね。私も以前少年野球のコーチをしているところっとお話ししましたが、正直年々団員の数は減っている印象です。もちろんメンバー集めに成功しているチームもありますが、昔ほどボール遊びができる環境が少なくなったのも要因の一つですし、道具の高騰なども理由にはなるとは思いますが、やはり一番はスター選手が少なかったことでしょうか。他の娯楽を差し置いてでも圧倒的になり得るスター選手、ゲームやスマホがこれだけ台頭する世界において、それらを差し置いてでも生のスポーツの感動を圧倒的に見せつける大谷翔平選手は本当に稀有な存在ですね。子供たちの入団理由を聞くと、やはり WBC での大谷翔平選手の活躍は強烈に脳裏に刻まれているようです。皆様の幼少期の脳裏に刻まれたヒーローは誰でしょうか。いろんなスポーツがあると思いますが、ぜひコメントで教えていただければと思います。それでは次回の動画でお会いしましょう。さようなら。